Welcome back to day 3. How do you choose your first destination abroad, your first country, your first city abroad?
Hello there.
That is what we're going to cover in day 3 of this 100-day video challenge here on the Freedom Files. As a reminder, my name is James. I'm from the United States. 4 years ago, I started my own online business, and since then have lived in 10 different countries abroad. I have grown a couple different online businesses, and now I help people like you start their own online businesses, move abroad for the first time, reduce their cost of living and taxes, and just overall become healthier, wealthier, happier, and freer in the process. So, today's conversation we're going to break down into 2 parts. 1, finding that destination, that first destination as a nomad, which is very different from finding your first destination to live long term. So let's break them down. So if your goal is to optimize for fun and adventure, you just want to optimize for your interests.
Everyone is having fun.
So in this first category of choosing your first destination abroad, if you're nomading, you just want to optimize for fun and adventure, right? These are ephemeral needs that you need in your life, and you think you're going to get it by leaving your home country and experiencing newness for the very first time. This doesn't have to be the perfect place for you long term. You just need to go try things out and experiment. And that's really how you should treat this nomadism adventure. Treat it as an experiment. Test on different metrics that are really important to you, each location that you go to. Maybe if you're really into nature, you don't want to go to Buenos Aires where there's almost zero of it. Maybe you're into optimizing your tax situation and dropping that to zero if you're not a US citizen. You don't want to go to Brazil where they have a very robust financial structure, a banking structure, and can track your movements and banking movements if you spend especially over 183 days in the country. You have to find the countries that are right for you, and that all starts with experimenting in the short term. Optimize for fun, optimize it for adventure, but also in that process, experiment, find what's important to you, and optimize for that. Essentially, when you're nomading, you just want to go where your interests lead you. On the other hand, when you're choosing a destination to live abroad, this is a very different conversation. And you're thinking much more about your potential abroad or offshore, overseas, instead of just fun and adventure in the moment. You're thinking about the long term.
I don't know how to start.
So you need to find 5 to 10 metrics that are really important to you, like tax, like travel accessibility, like nature, like walkability, like prices, like the ability to buy housing in that place. These are all really important metrics for the long term, not necessarily right now in the moment. So when I say pick those 5 to 10 metrics that are most important to you, test a few different jurisdictions on those metrics. You don't necessarily have to go and test each of these places in person, but you should test them on those metrics and see how they compare, see how they rank up against each other, and then go test your top 2, top 3. Test life in those places, maybe just for a weekend, ideally for a month, so you get into your rhythm a little bit, get into your routine, and you get to experiment with the walkability of the neighborhood, the accessibility to the market, and all these different things that you wouldn't necessarily understand after just a few days in those places. So, a little bit about my own story. For the first 3 years that I spent abroad, I lived in 10 different countries in those 3 years, so averaging about 3 months in each country that I'd landed in. And what I was able to do during that time was find out what was really most important to me. Things like nature, things like low taxes, things like the happiness of the people around me and the beauty of the people around me.
Que bella.
Those things are really important to me, as well as travel accessibility, because I travel a lot for both business and for my family. So those things are really important to me. And I wouldn't have understood those if I had just stayed in the United States and then moved randomly to a place that I thought was going to be the right move for me long term. So because I spent those first 3 years experimenting with a whole lot of different places and testing on a few different metrics that I thought were really important to me, I understood finally that Medellin, Colombia, and Madrid, Spain were long term great spots for me to build a life with my significant other. They have direct flights between the two, plus to the United States, where I spend a lot of time. Obviously, my friends and family are there. The time zones are optimal for the work I do. Both cities are walkable. There's tons of nature, both in Medellin and outside of Madrid. I now speak the language of Spanish.
You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
I love the weather in both jurisdictions. I really love the people. They're beautiful and they're very kind in both jurisdictions. So, this is what it's all about. You have to find those things that are most important to you first before you double down long term on a place that you can actually build a life in. You can build a network in, build community in. Of course, no place is perfect. And I've learned that each place has its flaws. Medellin certainly does. Madrid certainly does. And the United States does. I wouldn't be here in the first place if the United States didn't have its own flaws. But the beautiful thing about this lifestyle that I've chosen to live is that I'm not stuck to one place or another. I can up and move because I work on my laptop, which is sitting right here, and nothing changes. I can move to Zimbabwe tomorrow and do just as well there as long as I have an internet connection than as I do here in Medellin, Colombia. The moral of the story here is to not rely on a single jurisdiction so that you can optimize for the current season of your life and live long term, build community, build relationships, and build equity in a place that suits you in that moment of your life. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed day 3 of this 100-day video challenge. Let me know what you think below. Comment a keyword or something so this serves the YouTube algorithm all right, like digital nomadism or how to pick the first destination abroad, something like that. And hopefully this reaches some more people like you and me. Give this video a like, subscribe, and there will be a whole lot more. Talk to you guys soon.